So converting a transaction to a bill payment. So typically what ends up happening is a client will create a bill, right? And this bill goes to accounts payable. And the correct way to mark this bill paid is not to go to write check or not to go to create expense. You have to go into pay bills because QuickBooks treats a bill payment different than it treats a check or an expense. The difference between a bill payment or a check or an expense is that a bill payment automatically attaches itself to accounts payable and marks or applies to a bill and lowering that liability. Where a check or an expense allows you to use any account, which could include an expense account, and basically creating a duplicate expense, and that bill stays open forever. So that's kind of the issue. So to repair it, basically you go to the original bill, and this I have to do a demo for. There's really no way for me to do this without a demo, and it's kind of one of the best, coolest demos to do because this is for a lot of accountants that are used to maybe working with QuickBooks Desktop. They know that this is a huge sort of a pet peeve that QuickBooks Desktop doesn't have a real nice way to solve this issue. So I'm going to create a bill here for $3,000, and I'm going to hit save and close. And then what happens is my client is going to inadvertently make a mistake and pay that bill by using a check. Now, it's okay to pay bills with a check. That's not prohibited, but that's what typical clients do, is they don't follow the workflows, and our job is to fix it. So they're going to go ahead and write a check and pay this vendor. And basically, they're going to duplicate the expense by creating a check on top of the bill that was created already. So I'm going to hit save and close here. And here, the account, I'll just pay it from any bank account here. Okay, and I'll hit save and close. And then basically what happens is when I go into my vendors and I'm going to go to open balance here, I'm going to see that my vendor now has an open balance of $3,000. It still shows up that my vendor that I owe my vendor $3,000, although I actually paid it because I went to a check and I wrote the check. That's a typical issue that we have. So in QuickBooks Desktop, for example, the only way for you to fix that is that you have to go into the check itself. So let me go search this check here. So I have to go to the check itself and change it to accounts payable and then apply things. It's actually kind of messy. So what's great about the way you can fix this in QuickBooks, let me go look for a check for $3,000 here in the search menu. Click on search. There's my check. So typically to fix this, if you're a QuickBooks Desktop user, the only way you can fix this is by changing the payee here to accounts payable and then going into pay bills and apply the bill. So the good news is you don't have to do that. Let me just hit reset this for a second. So the good news is all you have to do is once I go back to the check, there's going to be a drawer open on the right side here. That drawer basically allows me to add that bill as a linked transaction to that check and essentially convert that check into a bill payment, which is the correct way it should have been done from the get-go. So if I click on add, notice that up here now it says bill payment. It converts the transaction type. It converts the transaction type, and by having the transaction type converted, you just troubleshoot it or fix that problem.